Hey guys! Welcome to episode number 41 of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Germany. Today is June 3rd and gosh, I cannot believe it is June already. It sounds like such a cliche, but this year, I don't know. This year has just been so crazy, I literally cannot grasp that it's June. But anyways, I'm so glad that you're joining me today for a little talk about knitting and spinning and general yarny waffle, I guess. So, today I'm recording on a Friday, and those of you who've been watching for a while know that that's very unusual for me. But like I mentioned in the previous episodes, I've been moving around the podcast a little bit to accommodate for the fact that we're moving and all sorts of stuff is going on. So today I'm recording on a Friday and I'm planning to do the same thing next week. And then after that, I should be able to go back to a more normal schedule. But I'll talk more about that later. So for those of you who haven't watched before, I'm so glad that you're checking me out. And, well, what is there to say about me? So I live in Germany, I live with my boyfriend, and we are currently planning to move from a German city called Würzburg to another major city called Munich, which is in the south of Germany, as I'm sure most of you know. And that's actually happening in a week, which is insane. So that's why I'm a little bit all over the place. But yeah, I'm just finishing up my master's thesis in psychology, so that's what I'm doing pretty much full time whenever I can. And my boyfriend is already working. He just started a super new and very exciting job. And I knit, obviously. I also spin. I sew every now and then. And I just generally like everything craftsy and creative. And I also play quite a lot of music. So because I don't have a piano anymore, unfortunately right now, mostly I sing and play the guitar. But yeah, I definitely like my music and I enjoy it very much. So, thank you so much for watching. If you're new, I hope you like it. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. And I will try to get into the podcast now. So today I want to talk about this, which is my new shawl pattern. So I'll talk about that first, and then I have a finished object, works in progress, spinning, and life in general. So this is the Squishalicious shawl, which has been released. So I said last week that I was planning to release it this week, and I did. It's been out for about 3 days, and this is my second shawl design for those of you who don't know. So it comes in different sizes, or you can customize it. So I knit a small size. This only used 87 grams of fingering weight, and as you can see, it's still, I think, quite sizable. So this is a small version, and it's knit in fingering weight, but you can also customize it and make it larger. So you can see it has this sort of textured stitch body, which comes in 2 sizes. So I knit the small one, but it's also a larger size for the body, and then this chevron edging, which needs to be reblocked, by the way. And you can just knit however long you want, because it's just the way the pattern is really easy. So you can customize it. You can, even with one skein of yarn, you can either knit the small texture section and a larger border, or the large texture section and a smaller border. And of course you could, do the large section with one skein of yarn and do a contrasting border. So anything between, I would say, 100 and 150 grams of fingering weight yarn would definitely work. So like I said, it's knit on fingering weight yarn or sock yarn, and the pattern itself is very squishy, hence the name Squishalicious. So it's a sort of textured stitch, which is very stretchy, and I think it feels really nice. So I think this pattern works really well with a sort of plump fingering weight, because you know how sometimes yarns can feel very different, but this yarn is very squishy in itself and it works really well with the pattern. So I suggest that you use either a solid or semi-solid or a speckled yarn, but you could also use a variegated, even though I wouldn't use anything too crazy variegated because I just don't think it would show up with the pattern. But yeah, so I released that, and I had a coupon code going which ends tomorrow. And I just figured, because I'm trying to get a podcast out today, I will extend the coupon code until Sunday, the 5th of June. So this should go on sometime on Friday, so you have more than 2 days to take advantage of that coupon code. And the coupon code is so squishy, all capitals, and that will give you 20% off both my patterns. So this one as well as the Crazy Days shawl, which I release sometime in February, I think. So a lot of people have been using that, and thank you to everyone who purchased my pattern so far. Seriously, I've just been blown away by the response to the pattern, and all the time my phone is, sending me messages from people that someone else bought the pattern, and yeah, it's just been so exciting. So thank you to everyone who bought the pattern already, and thanks to anyone who is planning to buy it. So, as I said in the last few weeks, I had a giveaway for this pattern because I want to have a knit along. So I'm giving away 3 copies of the pattern, and I've drawn the winners already using the random number generator. So 1 copy goes to Grace, who is Anna Grace 8 on Ravelry. The 2nd copy goes to Kelly, whose Ravelry name I can't pronounce, but it's spelled W-I-C-C-A-N-W. And she sent me some lovely minis and stuff before, so I was really happy to see your name pop up. And the last person who won is Sherry, who is Sherisa S on Ravelry, I believe. I hope I didn't butcher that. So congrats to all 3 of you. You guys have won the pattern, so I think I'll give you a couple of days to get in touch with me. And then I might just send out the pattern because I think you guys might want to start for our knit along. So thank you to everyone who posted in the giveaway thread. I really enjoyed reading all of your answers. And yeah, I love giving my patterns away, so that was really fun. So that's that. And like I said, we're having a knit along. So we're having the squishy cow. And the knit along will be for this pattern, as well as my Crazy Days shawl. So because I had the promotion for both patterns with the coupon code and everything, I just thought it made sense because I never actually did a knit along for my first pattern. So you can knit either one or both of my patterns. And the squishy cow goes until July 31st, at least that's what I'm saying right now. So that gives you almost 2 months to work on the shawl, and I will knit it with you. So we can all knit along together, and if we find out that it's not enough time, we can see about extending the deadline. But right now I think July 31st is a good day as an end date. So for the giveaway prize, we have 1 prize already, which is a beautiful bag, which I showed 2 episodes ago, so in episode 39. And it's a project bag that comes with a matching DPN case or DPN holder. And if anyone who makes stuff or creates pattern or dyes yarn would like to donate more prizes, of course I would be very happy to hear from you, so you can just let me know. But of course there's no pressure to do anything at all. So I hope you guys are excited about this knit along. I definitely am. I really want to cast on my 2nd shawl, and yeah, I will open a chatter thread as well as a faux thread at some point. And the chatter thread, of course, you guys are invited to use for, talking about yarn choices or showing your progress and all that. And I would, of course, love to see it, because when I design things, the most exciting thing is seeing everyone else knit it up. So yeah, I've chosen my yarns, which I want to use, and I might cast that on today. So like I said, you can do this with either 1 or 2 skeins of yarn, but because my first version is a smaller version, I now want to knit a larger one. So right now I'm thinking I'll use 1 skein for the shawl body, and the large shawl body should use about 80 to 90 grams of yarn, so that should work. And then a different contrast in color for the border. So these are the yarns I've chosen, and it's not focusing. So this is my main color, and it's Life in the Long Grass, which I've never used before. The colorway is Garden Party, and it's a 75% wool, 25% nylon blend, so it's a pretty nice standard sock yarn. And as you can see, it has these slight speckles and a little bit tonal, so I think this will look really pretty in the pattern. So I think I will use this yarn, which I got as a present from a lovely viewer a couple of months ago. This is Malabrigo Finito in the lavender colorway. And it looks a little bit more blue than it actually is. It has these like really dark purples, so I think this would go quite well. Even though this yarn seems a little bit thicker, it's about 200 yards per 50 grams, and this one is, it doesn't say. This one is about 460 yards per 100 grams, so it's a little bit thinner, but I think it might still work. But yeah, I'm definitely planning on using this one for the main color, and I can always see about the border, or if I get bored and I decide to not knit it as long, I might use this one for the whole shawl. I'm not quite sure yet. But yeah, this is the plan for now. So if you're choosing your yarns, I would love to see them. So feel free to tag me on Instagram if you're talking about it, or of course go into the chatter thread, which I will hopefully have created by the time you watch this. And yeah, I will cast this on pretty soon. So I think that's all about the squishy cowl. I'm really excited about it, and of course you can use the hashtag squishycowl on Instagram if you want to. Let me have a sip of tea. So today I finally decided to open this tea, which I got from a lovely viewer. I think it might have been from Kelly, in fact. I'm not sure. Sorry guys. I've received a lot of teas and minis lately, and I'm kind of getting confused. But this one I've been wanting to try for a long time. It's the Rose Lemonade Infusion. And I don't drink a lot of this kind of tea. I usually go for, you know, this standard black or green tea, not because I don't like everything else, but just because I'm boring. But yeah, this tastes really good, and I just felt like today is the day I'm going to try this. So yeah, I've been babbling on for ages, and I think I should get on to some knitting. So I have one finished object. Of course, it's a pair of socks, because I always have a pair of socks finished. Well, that's not true, but I do knit a lot of socks at the moment. So this is a finished pair of the socks from a sock blank from Sarah's Texture Crafts. So last week, I think, where was I? I feel like I was already past last week I was just about to start the heel. So in the last couple of days, I knit the heel and knit the foot and did a rounded toe. And guys, I don't know what happened with Kitchenerring this toe. So I really wanted to go to bed, and I just finished this, you know, sock. I just want to knit the toe and be done with it. And then I started experimenting with the Kitchener stitch, because I thought, oh, I could do that way and that should work. And I didn't, and in the end it was a huge mess, and I was just kind of stuck. And this yarn is from a sock blank, so you might know that the yarn comes out very quickly as well, which I thought didn't help. And in the end I had to actually rip back and re-knit the toe, or part of the toe, but I really hope it should work now, because the yarn started to split a little bit and all that stuff happened. But yeah, these are finished. I still haven't woven in the ends because I'm not very good with that, and honestly with socks I don't really care about the ends unless I'm giving them away, but these are definitely staying with me because I love them so much. And I blocked these socks because with the sock blanks they tend to come out a little bit crinkly, and as you can hopefully see now, the fabric is pretty even, and over time it will become maybe a little bit more even. But yeah, I really like these. I knit these on 64 stitches. I did 20 rows of 1x1 twisted rib, and then a very long leg. I think I did 91 rows of stockinette. So what is that? 111 rows of the entire leg, I suppose. And then a fish lips kiss heel and a normal foot with a rounded toe. So yeah, I really can't wait to wear these. The fabric is really nice. I do notice that with sock blanks I knit a little bit tighter. So the first sock blank socks that I've ever knit, I knit on 60 stitches, and they were fairly small, and back then I just thought, well, I was trying, you know, 60 stitches instead of 64, so I kind of blamed it on that. But yeah, I do think that just because of the way I knit with sock blanks, my gauge is a little tighter. So I might have to reconsider going up a needle size or knitting 68 stitches next time I knit a sock blank sock. But yeah, I'm really happy with them. And I knit these on higher sharp DPNs on the 2.25mm US size 1. So that's my finished object, and I'll go straight into works in progress. I'll show you my very poor progress on my blanket. So you might remember that last week I was saying how I really wanted to do a couple of squares on this blanket while uploading the podcast. And I've made some progress, and I knit exactly 1 square, which is kind of sad. So I knit this one sparkle square, which is from All About Yarn on Etsy with Jenny. And that's literally all I've done, because I think I recorded sometime maybe Saturday, Sunday, and then I actually left to stay with my family on Monday morning, so I just didn't have any time. So again, I would really like to get a couple of squares done this week, but maybe I shouldn't make any promises. Moving on to projects that I actually worked on. In my Diary of a Yarn Snob bag, I have my Robin sweater. So I hope you guys aren't too sick of seeing this, because it's just a sweater that's taking me a while and I'm not really rushing. I'm knitting it out of lace weight yarn, which is called Semilla Extra Fino from BC Garn, which is a Danish brand. It's 100% organic, non-superwash wool. And I've made quite a bit of progress on the body. I'm still knitting on the body. So yeah, you can see that last week I was in the middle of the gray strap here. So I've knit an entire red strap and I started a gray strap. And each strap I'm doing for 20 rows. So this is lace weight yarn. I have quite a lot of stitches on the needle. This is also quite oversized. I actually haven't tried this one in a while, but it is very big on me, I think. The original pattern that I've used was the Robin sweater by Jose Paquin, Paquin. But I only really used that for the short rows at the top and the raglan increases, and then ever since splitting up for the sleeves, which I've done earlier than the pattern suggested due to some gauge issues that I had, I've just been knitting plain, and I think I'm just going to figure it out as I go. But yeah, I really like it. As you can see, my arms are still on stitch holders, and I'm playing yarn chicken a little bit because I only have 200 grams of yarn, so this is all I have left. It is lace weight yarn, so I should go a fair way, but yeah, I'm curious to see how the sleeves are gonna go. But yeah, like I said, I didn't buy this in specific for a sweater. I just thought I was going to use 2 of them together for one shawl and probably the other 2 for another shawl. So yeah, I'm just kind of improvising and very curious to see how it'll go. I really like these colors. I really didn't think they would go together in the beginning, because like I said, I didn't plan on them being together, but I think in the sweater they look quite nice. So I think I should mention that the Paquin sweater is actually meant for sports weight yarn, which is why it may have not been a good idea to knit with lace weight. And I'm using 3.5mm needles, which are US size 4. So that's my sweater. And can I just say that this bag is perfect for the sweater, because it's very sturdy and it has so much room, so I can just stuff the sweater in the bag and it's just perfect. Yeah, so that's that. My next work in progress are my boyfriend's socks, and I've been kind of complaining on Instagram about these because they're really pretty, but I'm just not enjoying knitting them for some reason. But I have a half-finished object, so I finished the first sock. This has not been blocked. As you can see, the ends have not been woven in. But I finished the first sock, so it's a stockinette sock. It has a 2x2 rib, a normal fish lips heel, which I do on all of my socks. And I think, yeah, this is where I was last week, so I had already half of the foot done, and I just finished the first sock. And you can see some laddering. I'm not sure what's going on there, but that'll block out And then I forced myself to start the second sock. So like I said, I'm really not enjoying these. I think it's just the fact that sometimes knitting for other people is not as fun, and I'm doing 68 stitches, which for me seems like it's just taking forever. But yeah, I'm done with the leg, and I put in the Squishalicious heel last night. And now I just need to knit the foot and then hopefully be done pretty soon. So the yarn that I'm using is this one. It's a German indie dyed yarn. And I haven't used it before. It's actually really nice. So I'm not sure why I'm not liking it, because I really do like the yarn and I do like the colors and I like the needles. I'm not sure what's going on. But this is from Wolkenschaf. Like I said, a German indie dyer. The colorway is Faltraut, which is up here. And it's her classic sock yarn, so it's a 75-25 yarn, and it's actually really soft. Like, she has a softer base, which is amazingly soft, but even this one is really nice. And I'm using my Knit Pro Zings in the 2.25mm. And then I have one more work in progress, which I'm really excited about. And that's living in my Mina Max bag. I'm showing you the same bags every week because I'm not really big on buying new bags, but I hope you guys don't mind. And I love this project. Let me just see if I have the tag. I do. So the yarn I'm using is from Fondant Fibre, and I think all of you who've been watching for a while know my love of Fondant Fibre. She's a UK-based dyer of yarn and fibre, and she also makes bags and stitch markers. And the yarn that I'm using is in her Spangle sock, which is, whoops, I'm dropping it, Merino, Nylon, and Stellina, in the Brigadoon colorway. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. And this yarn is so special to me. I love this yarn. So the cake is a little bit messy because I was knitting from the center, and I think I'm gonna go back from pulling from the outside because I just don't like how messy and unstable the cakes get when you pull from the inside. But you can see the colors are just gorgeous, and it's sparkly, and I love this yarn so much. So I ordered this in January, I think, not actually February, as a pick-me-up when I had my first wisdom tooth out and I was feeling quite miserable. I placed a very large Fondant Fibre order, and that's when I ordered my first yarn from her, because usually I only order fibre. So this yarn has been coveted and very special, and I finally decided that I deserve to cast this on. So I cast on some monkey socks, because everyone's crazy about the monkey socks at the moment, and I just kind of wanted to see what the fuss is all about. So the monkey socks are a free pattern from Cookie A. If you go on Ravelry, you have to pay for them, but it's also free on Knitty.com. There's also a no purl version, but I'm just doing the normal version because I don't really mind purling, and I figured I might do the proper version, or the classic, I guess, version first, and then if I decide to knit it again, I might do the no purl one. So this is what it looks like. I did a 2x2 rib for 15 rows and then started into the monkey socks pattern. So it's a little bit hard to show. Let's see. But I'm sure you can kind of see the texture. It's really beautiful. I'll give you a close-up. I love how the yarn is knitting up, and I was worried that it might be a little bit too variegated, but I think it works really well with this pattern. Because I know that pattern socks, you know, mostly look the nicest in solid yarns, but I don't have a lot of solid yarn and I just get bored. So yeah, I love the little variegated and speckled and colorful yarns. So I'm knitting it on 64 stitches. Sorry, my camera crashed again, as usual. So before starting the heel, because I put in a Squishalicious heel, I did one repeat only on the front, so I have some stockinette, which makes the Squishalicious heel work and fit a little bit better. So you can see I put in the heel, and now I'm knitting the foot in stockinette, and I also really love how this yarn is knitting up in the stockinette. Yeah, I just love this yarn to death. I really enjoy it, and yeah, these socks have brought me so much joy. So it's an 11 row repeat, and when I started it I thought, oh my god, this is going to be too complicated for me because I like my socks to be simple and mindless. But I actually memorized this really, really quickly. Like it's so, I don't know, I don't even know how I memorized it, but it's just very intuitive. So now I just knit every now and then. I'm not even looking at the pattern, and it's working really, really well. Generally, when I knit pattern socks, or I usually only use the texture, or I figure out the stitch pattern, but I will usually always do my standard fish lips, kiss heel and toe and everything the way I always do it, because I just really like it that way. So whenever I'm knitting pattern socks, just know that the pattern might not have this kind of heel. I just like it, so I put it in. And the needles that I chose to use for this are Addi Premiums. So I think that's the Addi Turbos. It's not Addi Lace, it's Addi Premiums. And I thought they might be good to use because, as you can see, I'm doing magic loop, and usually I do magic loop 2 at a time. But this time I really wanted to knit it 1 at a time. So for 2 at a time I usually use a 100 centimeter or 40-inch cable. But because I was only knitting 1 at a time, I thought the 80 centimeter cable might be better. And this was the only needle I had in the 80 centimeter size. So I took this with me, as well as the pins, to decide later what I want to use, and I decided to use these. And I used to really like these, but honestly, now that I'm used to hayas and everything, I just don't enjoy these very much at all. Like, it feels like you're knitting with chopsticks. They're not very sharp, and I think some people it doesn't bother. And I think it wouldn't bother me as much with stockinette socks, but because you're doing increases and decreases, these are a pain. I really thought about switching, but I do like knitting pattern socks on magic loop just because you have 2 sides and 2 needles instead of 4 sides and 4 needles to worry about. And I didn't have any other circular needles with me at the time. And now I'm not sure if I'm going to switch over or if that might affect the gauge. I think I might switch them. Like, they're not bad, there's nothing wrong with them, but especially for pattern socks, I just don't really enjoy them that much. But yeah, these are my monkey socks. I feel like I've been talking about them for a long time. I'm very, very curious to see how they will look after they've been blocked and how they will look on my foot. So yeah. And as you can see, I'm still knitting 1 pair of socks for me and 1 pair of gift socks for someone else, which was my plan, even though I might abandon that for a while because I just really want to knit some shawls. I'm in a shawl mood and I want to obviously knit the Squishalicious shawl with you guys, and I also have a few other shawls in mind that I would really like to cast on. So I might go back to only knitting 1 pair of socks at a time. I know this is probably the stupidest mug to drink tea out of because it gets very hot, but I got this for my birthday together with a second one, and I just love these mugs so much, and I mainly use them for my coffee, but I just really wanted to use it today for my tea. So that's it for works in progress, and I will move on to spinning. So last week I was spinning on my singles, and I just finished that like about an hour ago. So I literally got home, cleaned up, and then went to my spinning wheel because I really missed not being able to spin for a week when I was away. So these were about 100 grams of singles, and I'm going to full them, which means that I will slightly fill the yarns by putting it into hot water and then back into very cold water, and just doing that a couple of times back and forth, which is a little bit more work than just finishing a applied yarn, but that helps balance the yarn a little bit and also makes it more durable, because if you're spinning singles you usually don't put that much twist into it, and therefore if you don't full them they might fall apart very easily. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how this will turn out. I will probably do that today. And yeah, I really, really loved spinning this. This was such a joy to spin. The fiber was great to draft, and I'm very much in love with it. I feel like I don't have that much fiber, and because I'm moving, I don't really want to start more projects anyways. But once we moved and all settled into the new home, I think I might have to do some serious fiber shopping at some point. And yeah, I'm really debating whether I will start another spinning project or if I just not spin before we move. But I still have a whole week here, so maybe I'll start something, because it's not I mean, the spinning wheel is being moved anyways, and it's just a matter of, having a few bobbins with fiber and stuff, but it's not a big deal anyways. So we'll see about that, and that's all there is for spinning this week, because like I said, I only had about 2 days at home after talking to you last time, and I literally came back here like 2 hours ago and cleaned up and finished my spinning, and now I'm recording and talking to you guys. So with that, I will move on to life in general, because I don't have any acquisitions. I mean, I said I wasn't going to buy anything with the whole move and everything, and I did maybe buy something. Yes, maybe 2 things that I bought because they were on sale. But these are being shipped to my parents' house and they haven't arrived yet. So I will pick them up next week, right before we move down to Munich. Which is a bit hard because, I really want to have my yarn and squish it, but there's nothing I can do right now, and it was just too risky to have something shipped here because I only ordered from German people, and usually that's really fast, but some dyers say it takes 6 to 9 days, just because I guess they plan in time and they might not ship everything out right away. So it was just the safer option to ship them here. Ship them to my parents' house. So yeah, no acquisitions to show you guys. And I will move on to life in general, so if you're not interested in that, that's totally fine. I hope you still enjoyed my episode, even though it might not have been that much content. And I'm a little bit all over the place. But yeah, thank you for watching. And if you're sticking around, very quickly, last week, after I recorded, we actually had another visitor. So we had the Australian people for the week, which I talked about. And then the next day, a Swedish friend of my boyfriend's came to visit, because my boyfriend did his master's degree in Sweden, in Gothenburg. So his friend came to visit, and that was really, really nice, because I had never met him before. And, it's one of these people that, we've talked about and I've heard about before, and it was really, really nice to finally meet him. And we just went out in the city because the day was quite nice, so we were sitting outside and having lots of coffee, and yeah, it was really, really great to meet someone from Sweden. And we really want to go to Sweden in the end of the year for like a weekend trip or something, because my boyfriend has quite a few friends over there that he'd like to visit, and he'd like me to meet them. So that might be something we might do, but no plans for that really yet. Then on Monday morning, my boyfriend left again for work for the week. He actually spent 1 day in Munich and then 4 days in England, in London. And I mentioned that I had really, really wanted to go with him, but there was just no way, so he's been there and I've been a little bit jealous. But he gets back tonight. I think, in fact, he might right now be flying. So because my boyfriend was gone and I had nothing that kept me here, like I can work anywhere with my laptop and everything, so I decided to throw in a familycation, as I call it. So I stayed with my family. So my family lives about 45 minutes from here, or maybe an hour, in a town called Rothenburg ob der Tauber, which is a quite famous town amongst tourists because it is like small and has lots of middle-aged sort of houses, and yeah, it's quite popular. But yeah, I decided to stay with my family and work from there, which was really, really nice. So I didn't know how long I was going to stay. I also went down for a doctor's appointment, which turned out to be fine, thank God. I was a little bit worried. And yeah, I worked from there, and it was really, really nice, because if you're staying with your parents, you don't have to do any cooking, and yeah, it was just nice to have some time to spend with them as well, and not worry about, some of the things I have to worry about here. So I spent the week eating lots of delicious, delicious food. It was so good. In fact, yesterday with my mom, we cooked a pretty unusual dish. It was this sort of meatballs with a curry and coconut sauce. So it was kind of like a Asian style sort of dish, but with meatballs, which I thought was going to be quite interesting, but it actually tasted really good. Like we threw in, curry paste and lots of veggies, and then put in the coconut milk and lime juice, and what else? Just a lot of different spices, and we had that with rice, and that was delicious. So yeah, I've been trying to work on my thesis, but it's going very slow. And it's kind of bugging me a little bit because I'm working really hard, but I'm still spending a lot of time waiting for other people. And yeah, some stuff has happened which I'm not really excited about. So I'm really hoping that soon my supervisor will get back and we'll get back on track, because of course I'm thinking I'm moving away next week, so I want to have everything set in stone, and I want to have all the meetings I need to have before I move away, because then it'll be harder for me to just go up here for a meeting. So I'm really trying to get organized, but just because I want to be organized doesn't mean that everyone else is organized. So yeah, this week I really, really wanted to work and, be productive and effective, but a lot of time I really couldn't because I was waiting for him and for stuff to happen, and yeah, it's just a little bit out of my control, which is a bit of a bummer because I had this huge setback last week. So I didn't have to start again, but I had a big setback, and again, that was my fault. So really now I just want to move forward, and I feel like it's being made a little bit too difficult, but I'm hoping that that'll sort itself out soon. Because, right now I have lots of waiting time, so of course I have lots of time to knit, but I can't really enjoy it because I'm thinking about all these things that need to be done. But anyways, at least I'm going forward at some point and it should be fine. I'm just essentially fine-tuning my proposal, and once I get the okay for that, I can finally move on with my survey, and that'll be more things that I can actually do rather than relying on other people and waiting for other people's feedback and all that. All that to say, it's going okay, and I hope it's going to go even better soon. So right now it's Friday. I'm actually meeting up with a friend later, and then my boyfriend gets back, and then it's our last week in Würzburg before we move, which is insane. I really can't believe it. I mean, I really wanted to move that early. We made the choice to move a lot earlier than we had originally planned, because originally we had planned to move in July. But now it's just kind of dawning on me that it's really, really soon, and I am making all these plans to meet these people for the last time before we move, and I realize I will see them again, but it's just not going to be that easy anymore, and yeah, it feels really weird. I was staying with my family, which kind of feels like home, and then this place here, our current apartment, because we're moving in a week, it just doesn't really feel like a home either. But then again, I don't feel like I'm at home in Munich already as well. So it's just kind of these things. Of course I knew that I was going to be moving, and I knew that it meant starting fresh in a new city, but I think I hadn't really at least emotionally understood it or realized it, and it's all kind of dawning now. But yeah, I think it should be really good. I'm a little bit scared of the next week because there's quite a few things we have to organize and do, and then Saturday in a week, which is the 11th, the movers will come and actually take our things, and we'll have to do cleaning and then stay with my family overnight, and then drive down to Munich, where on the following Monday they will deliver all our things. So we're really lucky in the way that Kai's company is actually paying for that sort of stuff, so we don't have to rent a car and organize friends to do that. So that's really, really good. And honestly, I wouldn't know if it would have been so much work otherwise, but still, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of organizing, and especially it's a lot of things that go on in my head, because there's all these things to organize and to consider, and what goes where, and what do I need at what time, and what place, and so on. So yeah, the move is happening, but I'm still planning to record at least something next Friday. This time I think I won't promise it, because things can get a little crazy and God knows what's going to happen, but I'm still planning to have one last recording here, and then I'll have my new apartment. Oh, I should say our new apartment, but with my craft room, and I'm just so excited about that. It's going to be an office, but I'm probably going to use it mostly for creative things, so I'll have my sewing machine out and my stash, and we'll have a little, or a sleeping couch in there as well, so we could use it as a guest room, but mainly it'll just be another place to sit and knit and work, and I'm very excited, as you might probably be able to tell. So that's it life-wise. Getting organized, hoping that everything will go smoothly. I briefly thought about trying to reduce the amounts of whips I have at the moment, you know, kind of get things off the needles before we move, but then I don't really see the point in, you know, stressing myself out more. And I really do want to cast on the Squishalicious with you guys, just because I've been planning to do that for a long time and I'm really excited about that. So I don't think it's very likely. Maybe I'll finish a pair of socks and not cast on a new one, but I also do need a lot of knitting, I think, to keep me sane. So I'm not going to make any promises about limiting my projects. I think once I'm in the new apartment, I'll definitely have some more organization of my stash, and I'm really excited about that, because organizing my stash and, you know, sorting through things, that actually brings me a lot of joy. So yeah, that should be exciting. And now I'm just blabbing on. So very quickly before I go, just a huge thank you to you guys who have been so supportive in my designing, and also just with live stuff and sending me nice messages, and yeah, just coming back to watch this podcast every week. Thank you sincerely to everyone who purchased one or even both of my patterns. That's brought me a lot of joy, because of course designing is a lot of work, and then when it actually pays off, not necessarily in the financial sense, but just in the way that people are actually excited and using those things and stuff, it just is so gratifying, and it feels really great. So I hope you want to join the Squishy Cow, and I hope that you enjoy the patterns, and I will talk to you next week. Bye!